just recently finished it. We put it out. It's called Lowest Moment. It came out today. So I'm really excited about it because this is like one of my favorite tracks I've worked on. I want to have Cole talk about his experience and like how the track came to be. So Cole, you want to just let them know?
Yeah, so we're in the middle of March when the quarantine kind of started. I went and stayed with family and ended up getting sick with COVID-19. During the onset of this virus, I just needed an outlet, and obviously music is the best medicine for anybody, especially a musician. So I started browsing through this app called Splice that some of my producer friends had told me about, and I stumbled upon this. I was kind of like going through the packs, kind of listening, and I just stumbled upon this one drum loop. What is this insane sound that's just like so almost like overdriven and explosive. It honestly sounded like the drums were about to explode in the best way possible. And I just was like immediately inspired by this loop, and heard not only the loop that's a part of Drums That Knock, which I think is called Big Bop. It's like the 87 BPM one. I not only heard that, but I also heard next when I went to check out the whole kit, I heard the sample song that DECAP had set up, which I eventually learned was a song called Who's There that he had released on Spotify too. And I just, the minute I listened to it, was not only blown away, but was also like, this could be, a whole, like I heard the potential for it to be this massive song. That's really how the song originated. And then once I had it once I had it like written and had recorded some stuff, I sent it to DECAP, and then we took it from there.
What I wanted to start with is just, I wanted to go into the original session. It was, as Cole was saying, it was this track that I put out last year called Who's There. And that's the drum track in Who's There is the drum track that ended up on Drums That Knock Volume 8, which Cole downloaded. So this was like the original idea that Cole started with to build out the whole track. So I'm going to play a little bit of that. So that was the original track, and the drums was what Cole was saying is the Big Bop loop from Drums That Knock Volume 8, and that is this. So actually, last year I broke down this session in the last Music Expo. Actually, that's up on my site as a masterclass right now, so you guys can check that out. But just to give you a quick overview for who hasn't checked it out, basically to get the kick drum, I sampled a little piece of an 808, and I put a pitch envelope on it. So if you hear the original, let's see if I can play the original. That's the original 808 that I turned into the kick. So the way I did it was I just picked like a little piece of the end and added a pitch envelope. And so the pitch envelope is how I mess with the attack. So that's the kick. It looks like I made the hi-hat an operator. So the way I did that was I just took like a white noise oscillator and did a short release, and this is what it sounds like. And you can I think for lowest moment, I actually like, you know, brought it in a little bit to just make it a little tighter, because Cole played some dope plucks, which I'll play in the Pro Tools session, and I wanted to match the kind of the attack of the plucks and the frequency. This one had very like open sounding closed hi-hats, which was dope for like a boom bap vibe, but I wanted to just tighten it up and give it kind of a more of a pop vibe. So after designing that sound, I cut out you know, a lot of the low frequencies, some of the highs, and gave it a boost around 3.5 kilohertz. And I added a track delay on it. I use the track delay just to throw it off the grid, so that kind of gives it some of the bounce. And I did the same thing with the open hat for the design of the open hat. So I think what I did there was I just increased the release a little bit. So if you do that, yeah. So I just messed with the release to get that. And for the snare, I didn't actually make it in this session, so I don't know exactly what I did to design it, but this snare is in Drums That Knock Volume 8. So those are the elements from lowest moment from this session. So now I'm going to switch over to the Pro Tools session. So this is the chorus, and then I'm going to play the guitar solo that Cole played.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part just has so much energy. I love that. When he sent me the original version, I just had this vision. I like for the bounce, like I wanted to just move the plucks slightly off time. It reminded me almost like some Chronic 2001 Dr. Dre stuff, where like that West Coast kind of like plucked off time vibe, and that's like one of my favorite albums of all time. So that's what it reminded me of. I'm gonna play that part. Yeah, just how that bounces. I just love that.
Yeah.
Cole, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, here's a little known. This is a, you know, obviously like, I don't, you know, I don't feel one way about it or another, but I don't recommend this, but that was recorded off an iPhone and sounds great in the track.
Crazy. Sounds amazing.
You can make.
I would have never known that. See,
Sure.
like that's the thing. Like technology nowadays is so good. You can just take your phone, record a section, like, and it can make the final song.
It can make it had that vibe, you know, so it fit.
Yeah. So
you know.
like what I did with that instrument is I brought it into Ableton, and in Ableton you can actually quantize audio. And I wanted to experiment with like quantizing it and then putting it off the grid. So that's how I got that effect with the bounce. So another thing I want to get into is the vocals. A lot of times when I'm doing vocals, I'll take like clicks and pops, and I'll just highlight it and lower the transient. So when it runs through a compressor, it sounds more smooth. So I did all my like de-essing and clicks and pops and things like that by hand. And so the main vocal line.
Back on it with my baby girl. All she wanted was to see my world. She got the VVS's with the red pearls. Call her religious cause she's so saving in every way.
So like with that part, I just did, I have a Pro Q3 and I did a dynamic EQ and I just cut at about 185 hertz. So like it's happening in time with the track. And I did just an EQ boost, a small EQ boost at 1500 hertz, 1.5. And then this track goes into the verse lead bus. I did some more dynamic EQ on the lead bus. I ran it through a UAD CL1B, just some light 6-to-1 compression. And then from there, I told Cole about this one. This is like one of the new secret sauce plugins that I've been loving on vocals. It just sounds so good on the top end. So I literally at 10 kilohertz and 5 kilohertz, I did like a 2 or 3 decibel boost. I'm gonna actually show you guys like what it sounds like with and without it.
Back on it with my
So I'm gonna put it at 0.
Back on it with my baby girl. All she wanted was to see my world. She got the VVS's with the red pearls. Call her religious cause she's so saving.
So it just gives it that shiny cut through pop sound. I just love it. And everything in mixing is about, and mastering is about just like adding touches, little touches from different plugins or different hardware that just gives it a vibe. So I didn't want to go overboard. I also added, I cut out some 500, and it looks like I added a little bit of 80. I mean, let me see why I did that.
Back on it with my baby girl. All she wanted was to see my world. She got the VVS.
So it just gave it a little more body after that Pro Q cut. So, I mean, I wouldn't normally think to add 80 hertz to it, but that just gave it a little more presence. And then after that, I ran it through an API 560 UAD. I did a little more 8K boost, a little 4K boost. I love the character of the API 560 because it gives it, it has like an, how do I describe it? It's hard to describe sound sometimes, but it has like this warm shine to it. It's not like, boosting an EQ on a Pro Q3. It gives it this analog shine. And then I put the mag EQ on it and I gave it some air boost at 40 kilohertz, which, I mean, obviously the human ear can't technically hear that high, but I find that it just gives it air. I'll show you guys what I mean. So I'm going to turn this down.
All she wanted was to see my world. She got the VVS's with the red pearls. Call her religious cause she's so saving in every way.
So when I'm doing, a lot of times I'll watch a video of someone demoing a plugin and you can't hear what they're doing because they're not turning it up all the way. Like they might be able to hear it, but we as watchers can't hear it. So that's why I'm turning it all the way up so you can hear like what it's actually doing. Because that's what I do when I'm putting EQ on stuff. So if you heard it, it was kind of giving, like opening up the space in the vocal. And then after that, I ran it through an LA2A.
All she wanted was to see my world. She got
So like 3 decibels of gain reduction just to kind of smooth it out. I usually go CL1B and then LA2A. And then this is like another one of my like secret sauce plugins. I love this plugin because it cuts harsh frequencies without you having to do a whole lot of setup. So a lot of times I'll throw this on a vocal, I'll throw this on a master bus. So you can actually see what it's doing.
All she wanted was to see my world. She got the VVS's with
So
the
here
red
it's just cutting like harsh frequencies. So I'll show you without it.
All she wanted was to see my world. She got the VVS's with the red pearls. Call her religious cause she's so saving in every way.
So it's just cutting out like some harshness. And then I put a doubler on it. And that just gives it width. It's, a doubler, pretty self-explanatory. So without it.
All she wanted was to see my world. She got the VVS's with the red pearls. Call her religious cause she's so
I don't know if you guys can hear it in the stream, but it just gives it width. And I wanted Cole's vocal to really shine through because that is the main element of the track. When the first bass note drops, I want you to hear what Cole's saying, back on it with my baby girl. It's like it just, I want it to be front and center and just, open up the space. So I feel like a doubler accomplished that. And then after that in the chain, this is another super secret sauce plugin.
You put me onto this one too. I had no idea this even existed. It was like,
dude, so
seagull related thing, like it just.
This is made by who makes this plugin? I can't remember, but it's Gulfoss. And all you do is add a little bit of recover and a little bit of tame. I mean, I don't know exactly what it's doing. My understanding of it is like they did some studies where they found like this curve of frequencies that's appealing to the average listener. And so when you adjust the recover and tame, it takes your signal and kind of adapts it to those frequencies. So whatever it does, I use it on everything because it has this shine and presence to it. So you may or may not be able to hear it in the stream, but I'm going to show you without it than with it.
All she wanted was to see my world. She got the VVS's with the red pearls. Call her religious cause she's so saving in every way.
So you can see it's just boosting and cutting a lot of frequencies to give it like this natural, pleasing tone. So I'll use this on the master sometimes. I'll use it on vocals. I'll use it on a drum bus. Just like a little bit of extra color.
And it does in real time too, if I'm not mistaken. Like as each element of the whatever audio track you have plays, or like, if you have an instrument that is hitting a range of notes, it'll work on that range in real time, which is, that's amazing, especially for the master bus. Like that's,
I love it. And then on the last phrase,
girl,
right here,
saving in every way.
What I didn't want to add, like a lot of times when I produce, I don't add a ton of reverb in vocals or drums or really anything. I use it as an effect. So what I did was I wanted to keep the vocals pretty dry.
This is with the red pearls,
and at the end, I automated an ultra reverb by Eventide. I just automated that one phrase to just ring out. Let's see. Cole, is there anything you want me to show in the session? Like anything you played or anything that you want to?
Yeah, actually, if we could take a look at the outro, has some really cool things going on, especially. That's like DECAP and I's, favorite part of it. That's our like go-to part of the song for just cruising. Especially when the guitars come in. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, man. So the outro, like. That section gives me like this 90s R&B vibe. Cole played some guitars on it and the drums and the little vocal chop, and then Cole sings all night, all night, all night. Like it's just like it has this vibe to it's classic. So when I first was arranging the ending, I loved the guitars that Cole played on that so much that I just wanted to hear it over and over again. So I decided to loop it a few times because when the song's over, I want people to just ride out to it. And I don't know, I just feel like it captures a certain moment, summer night. So like to get that sound, like on the 808s, I just wanted to, just tweak it a bit. So I like moved around some sections that he did. So like I wanted to have that staccato.
Yeah.
staccato bass, and I think that might have been a different part, but when that came in and then switched it to this part.
Yeah.
And then like the little roll over here, the way I did that was I used Audio Suite Verify, and since that audio was selected, I had it on slow down, so it kind of did like a bass roll, kind of like you would in FL Studio or Ableton. So this is how it sounds. And then with the track. And then I did the same thing with some of the vocals, like to give it that wind up feel. So like I find like little details like that, they always feel good. You might not notice it, but it's in the background. Cole, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, just about the 808s in that part too. I love how you ended it, like the final kind of round of that part. The 808 just goes back to the same pattern as it's the song starts with, like the boom, boom. But it just like ties everything in like such a nice bow. That's a detail that is like every time I hear it, it's like it just feels like we're back home, you know, like from the beginning of this journey, you know, like it just is. It's such a nice little touch, you know.
Like I remember just working on this end section. I remember just being in my apartment, and I just had headphones, and I brought my my interface home with me, and I was literally like, my girlfriend was sitting across the table just watching me, like just vibing out with the headphones.
Yeah.
She couldn't hear anything, but I was just going in on the headphones.
Woo!
So I just love to feel the record when we're working on it.
Yeah. And I guess another thing about that all night part, I don't know if you have the vocals there. Oh, they're probably out of time, right?
Yeah, I can play the vocals separately, but not together.
Yeah. But just, you know, a little tidbit about the all night, all night, all night, all night. I originally, in the original version I sent you, it was just like that melody that was like, that was repeating over and over again, and then the song just kind of faded out.
Just had that vibe of like early 90s R&B hip hop. So let me play that part.
All night, all night, all night, all night, all night.
Yeah, I just love those harmonies on that.
Yeah.
It just like the net result of this track is just that feel good
Yeah.
shit.